Imagine living in a world where you must survive by using a blindfold. In the opening scene of the movie, Malorie Hayes, a woman, informs the children, identified only as boy and girl, that they are going to embark on a perilous journey across the water. She emphasizes how crucial it is that the children wear blindfolds when they go outside. After grabbing a box containing her beloved birds, Malorie leads the children outdoors by having them follow a string trail. Once outside, she locates the boat and gets in the river. The movie flashback to 5 years before. Malorie is an artist and mother. When her sister Jessica pays her a visit, they watch a TV story about the mysterious mass suicides that began in Siberia and are now occurring all throughout Europe. When Jess sees Malorie's artwork, she interprets it as symbolizing a lack of connection. However, Jess assures her that things won't be the same with the baby. Then she offers to accompany Malorie to the physician. When Malorie sees Dr. Lapham, she teases Jess about consuming alcohol while expecting. Though Lapham finds the remarks amusing, she gives Malorie the option to let someone adopt the child if she feels unprepared to raise it. Malorie and Jess see a lady they passed earlier behaving strangely and hitting her head on the glass pane as they're leaving the workplace. They understand that the same thing that was harming individuals in Siberia and Europe has now spread to America. They dash outside as the mayhem breaks out, with automobiles smashing onto the pavement. After Jess chases Malorie away, she seems scared by something that only she can see, and soon after, her eyes take on an odd hue. Malorie tries to keep her on the road as she drives erratically, but Jess flips the vehicle and gets into an accident. They make it out alive, but Jess is still in a daze, and Malorie is left with no choice but to watch as her sister runs into a vehicle. Malorie follows suit with the rest of them. She stumbles and collapses in front of a residence. Despite the objections of her spouse Douglas, Lydia leaves her home to assist Malorie. Malorie seems to lapse into a trance and start talking to her mother before Lydia can pull her up. Lydia enters a flaming automobile that bursts into flames. Trevante Rhodes plays Tom, the guy who helps Malorie up and dashes into the home. A police officer called Lucy is pursuing them. Greg, the homeowner, Charlie, Felix, Cheryl, Jason, and Samantha are among the other people in the house. When the latter overhear their kids sounding endangered over the phone, they leave the home. All of the other individuals report to one another what they have seen in those who have been affected by this enigmatic energy. Charlie believes that the creature is the result of devils assuming the shape of a person's greatest loss or source of misery. They all understand that the thing is unseen and that gazing at it will lead to suicide. Tom approaches Malorie as she leaves the gathering and tells him what happened to Jess. Then, in an attempt to keep people from peeking outside, the gang boards up the doors and places newspapers on the windows. In the present time of the movie, Malorie and the kids are still descending the river as it is completely dark after 6 hours on it. When Malorie tries to talk to people on the radio, she begins to hear her name being spoken by the creature. Olympia, a survivor from the past, begs to be let into the mansion. Malorie takes a weapon in case Douglas fails to stop this. Olympia is seen to be pregnant by the others as they cautiously let her into the home. Greg then offers to examine the transmitters within the home in order to view whatever is outside. He waits to see something on the displays while seated in front of the computers, and suddenly it seems that he does. The others suddenly hear a pounding sound emanating from the chamber. They get upstairs just in time to see Greg murder himself after falling over and hitting his head on a ledge. The computer monitor is then destroyed by the others. Olympia attempts to discuss possible baby names with Malorie later that evening, but all she wants is to be left alone. As she wanders about, she believes she hears a pounding sound coming from the home, but it's just Lucy and Felix making love on the river for 14 hours. When Malorie hears Happy Anderson's voice crying out that it's okay for the youngsters to remove their blindfolds, she gives them the command not to. He says there's no need to be afraid of the thing since he's seen it and he has food. Just as the attacker confronts Malorie and attempts to remove her blindfold, she pulls out her revolver and shoots blindly. Malorie battles the guy and uses a machete to chop him to death. The gang has previously started to run low on food and knows that assistance is not on the way. After things went sideways, Charlie locked up the grocery where he used to work, so Malorie, Tom, Douglas, Lucy, and Charlie got together to see it. They use the GPS to direct them while they paint over the glass. They attempt to ignore the feeling they get while driving that they are passing dead corpses. Subsequently, the GPS begins to sound an alarm for proximity, indicating that the object is getting closer. Tom is able to get them out of the way. When they get at the market, they stock up on food. After deciding to bring some birds as pets home, Malorie notices some. Abruptly, they hear Fish Fingers, Charlie's co-worker, pleading to be let out of a freezer. Then he begins to go on about how the creature is stunning and has to be seen. Fish Fingers begins to appear as Tom, Lucy, and Douglas attempt to stop him. Charlie knows he is doomed the moment he sees the things. Charlie dies in the freezer where he forces them both to be kept, allowing the others to go back home. He rushes for Fish Fingers. The voice of Fish Fingers still begs to be released. That evening, over their own personal issues, Malorie and Douglas form a fleeting connection. Subsequently, the noises of the automobile being driven away reach the other people. When they enter the garage, they discover that Felix and Lucy have vanished along with it. A whole day was spent on the river. Malorie puts down her rower to rest. When she starts up again, she runs the boat into a submerged vehicle, causing Boy to tumble out. Malorie attempts to rescue him and warm him up, but the food and blankets have fallen into the river. She walks into the woods to try and get food, leaving the children in the boat. When Malorie walks inside a building, she hears a noise and witnesses objects moving and seeming to be drawn by an unknown force. Even when she escapes the building, the ghostly presence keeps calling her name. Girl hears Malorie firing her rifle at the invisible creature, so she leaves the boat to assist Malorie. However, when they get back to the boat, Malorie discovers Girl and scolds her for leaving the boat. In the past, Tom explains Malorie, when he was stationed in Iraq, he and his friends used to follow a father through the mayhem as he escorted his children to school. Additionally, the two of them begin to feel something for one another. Gary, a man in need, is allowed entry into the home by Olympia. Gary is forcefully searched and questioned by the others. He explains to the others that he and his companion were forced to gaze at the animals by some escaped mental patients who were chasing them. Gary was able to escape and rush to the home because one of them was attacked by Gary's buddy. He claims that some individuals are outdoors without blindfolds, voluntarily attempting to see the animals and wanting others to do the same. Cheryl knocks Douglas unconscious, allowing Gary to remain inside the home while they lock Douglas in the garage. Douglas doesn't trust Gary and attempts to eject him from the house at gunpoint. Malorie assures Olympia that she is not a burden as she sobs and apologizes for allowing Gary in. Then, Malorie accepts Olympia's request to look for her child in the event that anything were to happen to her. Olympia is then given a Hello Kitty toy to offer the child by her. On the river for 38 hours, Girl is Olympia's kid, as shown by the Hello Kitty toy she is carrying. Malorie hides beneath a blanket with the children to warn them that the rapids are coming and that this will be the riskiest portion of the trip. When she explains that someone would need to keep their eyes open in order to navigate, both of the children offer to help. However, Malorie determines that it is not worth risking the lives of any of them, so she announces that no one will see and they will face the rapids while wearing blindfolds. In the past, the movie flashes back to Malorie and Olympia start to go into labor together. Gary, one of the mad persons who has seen the monsters and wants others to see them, pulls out a number of sketches of them as Tom and Cheryl assist the ladies. Douglas notices that after taking Malorie's birds and putting them in the refrigerator since they seem to detect danger and warn others, he tears the papers off the windows. In an attempt to get rid of Douglas, Gary opens the garage door. Malorie gives birth to a male while Olympia gives birth to a daughter. As Gary walks inside the room, he raises the blinds to see Olympia. She gives her baby to Malorie just before she leaps out of the window. Cheryl then ends up cutting herself with scissors when Gary makes her open her eyes to the outer world. Douglas enters the room holding a weapon, but he is terrified to murder Malorie and the infants since he cannot fire with both eyes open. Although he is able to shoot Gary in the arm, he stabs Douglas to death with the scissors. At that point, both Gary and Tom spot the weapon and attempt to seize it. There are 2 gunshots heard, but Tom is seen to be alive and heading to Malorie and the children. 5 years have passed, just before the movie opens. Tom chastises Malorie for not even naming the 2 children she has been raising while they have been living together. They hear someone outside, and it's some individuals driving away from their automobiles without any window coverings or blindfolds. As a warning to the children, Malorie begins assembling her system outdoors. A guy called Rick sends the 2 a radio message at night, claiming to be in a secure complex with an abundance of food and supplies. He gives them directions on how to cross the river and reach the complex, warning them against going down there with kids and emphasizing the necessity for vision to pass. Rick advises them to locate the location by listening for bird sounds. Malorie believes that the facility may be a trap, but Tom is eager to see. The previous survivors make it to the home outside. Malorie and the children escape unharmed, and Tom rushes to face them. Whistling Marauder, leading the survivors, gives Tom the command to remove his blindfold. Tom shoots and kills 3 of the marauders before taking a shot himself when they discover Malorie and the children. After removing his blindfold, Tom murders 2 more people before pursuing the leader, who is pursuing Malorie and the children. As the creature begins to touch Tom, he fights it off long enough to kill the leader and then reveals his true identity to Malorie by turning the pistol on himself. The children are then gathered by Malorie and sent into the river. They have been on the river for 42 hours now, and the rapids are getting closer. Malorie attempts to navigate the choppy waves when they arrive there, but the boat overturns and everyone gets out. When Malorie cries out to the children, she sees Boy in the water and Girl on land. Malorie recognizes Girl by her ringing bell. Following that, when the 3 stroll through the woods, The thing tries to see them by whispering to them and using all of its might, but Malorie's determination is greater, and she convinces the children to follow her advice and avoid looking. She follows the noises of the birds as they approach the property, but when she attempts to enter, the creature envelops her until a door is opened, allowing them entry. After having her eyes examined, Malorie and the children are led inside. Malorie learns that the property is a school for the blind, and that those who attend are shielded from the entities when she meets Rick. Next, Malorie and the children locate Dr. Lapham, who cheerfully welcomes them. After asking the children for names, Malorie ultimately gives them. Boy is named after Tom, and girl is called Olympia after her mother. Malorie claims with pride that she is their mother and that they are her children. The birds are subsequently released to join the others in the sanctuary as Malorie opens her bird box and the movie ends. Once again, welcome to iMovie Recap Plus Studios. If you subscribe, you won't miss any future uploads. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and please like. Also, click on notification buttons to get updates on any new uploads.